Today, we will cover the steps to redomesticate your company to Florida in under 5 minutes on my website, www.movetoflorida.law. But first, a brief introduction. My name is Chad Cummings, and I am an attorney and certified public accountant serving clients in matters of business, tax, and commercial law throughout the states of Florida and Texas. I am Chief Executive Officer of the multi-state, multi-attorney law firm Cummings and Cummings Law. And in addition to my day job, I also teach business and tax law at the university level. I hold 4 degrees, including 2 law degrees, together with a bachelor's degree in accounting and a master's degree in taxation, in addition to 11 professional licenses and certifications covering accounting, tax, audit, and of course, the law. My firm website is www.cummings.law. I have described the many advantages of redomestication in my earlier presentations, including, among others, maintaining existing contracts with customers and vendors, keeping your federal employer identification number, eliminating any operational or financial downtime, and keeping your business bank accounts and, in most cases, your business name. Today's presentation will focus on how to complete the process on my website step by step. With that in mind, you should be able to see my website. What you will see on your computer or mobile device may look a little different, but these steps are exactly the same. Now, a lot of folks are so accustomed to working with attorneys that are old school. And what I mean by that is it is a cumbersome, tedious, and time-consuming process to even get an attorney on the phone, let alone schedule an appointment. And then you're stuck emailing documents back and forth. Our approach is the exact opposite. We are a technology forward law firm, and I would like to think we've made redomesticating your company to Florida as easy as purchasing something on Amazon. Now, that might be a slight exaggeration, but as you will see in just a moment, that is only a very slight exaggeration. So when you are ready to move forward with redomesticating, first, put in the name of your company. I'll put in test company. Click get exact price. Following the steps, I select my type of business. Maybe I have a subchapter C corporation, and perhaps I'm moving it from Kentucky. And now I will input the number of owners. Now, in the context of the word owner, that can mean different things. For a limited liability company, that refers to the members of the company. For a corporation, that refers to the number of shareholders. Okay, just an important point of terminology. Now, by the way, if at any point as you are completing the process, you have questions or concerns, you have this nice big button down here that says schedule a free consultation. You click that. You can put 15 minutes on my phone to speak directly with me, not with an assistant or a call screener, and I will address any questions or concerns you may have. Following that, I click next. And by the way, the phone consultation is optional, right? If you understand the process, you want to move forward, you don't need to wait to speak with me. But for those that would prefer to speak with counsel, that's no problem. Click the button, schedule a free consultation, and we will certainly speak telephonically. Now, I'm on step 1 right now, just gathering some basic information, which I've done here. Now I click next. All right, and just some additional basic information. Putting in my name, my email address, my phone number. If I have my federal employer identification number, I'm going to input that. It's not strictly required. And if you know the state ID number in your previous state, put it in here, but it's not required. Normally, I am able to extract that information from the public records. Now, very important, we need your physical address. Why? Because Florida law requires a physical street address where somebody will be available to accept service of process in the event a lawsuit is filed against your company. That's very important. If you have an address, you could just type it in here. Or if you prefer for an additional charge, you can select this option. And in doing so, we will arrange a registered agent address for you so that your public information is excludes, I should say, your personal address, which is certainly beneficial for privacy reasons. I click next. Here I'm validating all my information. Now, this is really important. Okay, I get on the phone with folks all the time. They ask me, how much does this cost? I say, well, did you look at my website? And I'm joking with them, right? Because certainly I'm not here to be condescending or rude. But on the other side of that coin, all of the financial detail is broken down right here. We do not hide the ball. Now, we do change prices on a regular basis. So whatever price you're seeing today may be a little different than what's shown in the video. We are constantly adjusting pricing in response to demand. So here you can see the state imposed costs, the costs for filing with the state of Florida, as well as the former state. In our example, we are using Kentucky, as well as the legal fees that I charge for the preparation and filing of Florida Articles of Conversion, Florida Articles of Formation, preparation of the legal plan of conversion, as well as board meeting minutes or a unanimous written consent to adopt that legal plan of conversion, as well as the statement or certificate of conversion that we will prepare and file with your former state. Correspondence with the Secretaries of State is included for the duration of the engagement. We use DocuSign whenever possible to eliminate snail mail. I do send status updates every week by email, usually on Fridays, so you are never left in the dark wondering what is going on. And then, of course, you see my fee right here, which again may be a little different depending upon the time of the year and what other promotions we may be running. Now, let me talk a little bit about the process and timing. From the time that you complete this process on my website, I do ask that you give me about 3 working days, though usually a little bit less, to prepare all of the documentation that I just described and send that over via DocuSign for your electronic review and approval. Of course, if you have questions at that point, or at any point, no problem. That's what I'm here for. I want to ensure that all of your questions have been thoroughly addressed at each step of the way. From the time that I have those signatures, I will dispatch those to the Florida Department of State via USPS priority mail with signature confirmation requested for expedited processing. Now, let's be clear on timing. By default, the Florida Department of State will require anywhere between 6 and 8 weeks to review, process, and approve the materials. If you elect to expedite at additional charge, which is shown down here in the color red, we can usually get that Florida approval down from 6 to 8 weeks to approximately 1 week, and sometimes even less than that. From the time that we receive that approval from the Florida Department of State, I will already have everything packaged up and ready to send off to the Secretary of your former state, processing of which will require some additional time. In any event, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So right now we're just looking at the fees, and then there are some additional services. These are fairly self-explanatory. I will let you read through these when you go through the process. The only point to be clear on here is that should you not choose any of these additional services, no problem. I won't take it personally. But it is important, of course, that you handle these additional items if necessary. Certainly, in many cases, they will not be. That is why it is so important to keep your CPA or bookkeeper engaged at every step of the way so that he or she will be on notice to handle any tax obligations. If you have a promo code, sometimes we run promos. You put that in here. If you don't have a promo code, again, don't take it personally. We're not always running promotions. It just depends on the time of the year. Now, I click next. The page loads. Again, I'm validating all of my information. I'm seeing the same line item detail on the prior screens. I read through all this. I ask you to really slow down and read this piece right here because it's summarizing exactly what we are doing and exactly what we are not doing. Now, you would click on limited scope, letter of engagement in terms of service. This will actually show you the exact retainer agreement or engagement letter. Those terms are fairly interchangeable, which is the contract between you and me saying I'm going to perform this scope of work for you. So just double check the accuracy of your information before submitting it. We don't want to have to charge you for any cleanup work or typos, that sort of thing. Certainly slows down the process. You scroll down, we have many payment options: credit, debit, bank transfer, crypto, Google Pay, Amazon Pay. If you are on an iOS device, you will see an Apple Pay option. And we also have Klarna, which allows you to pay over time. Simple enough. You click submit payment. From that point, you will immediately receive an email confirmation directly from me confirming that you've completed the process on my website. At that point, I will then begin reviewing the information that you shared with me, checking it against the public records for accuracy and validity, and then I will begin preparing the documents as I described, with the objective of sending those to you by DocuSign for electronic review and approval within 3 working days. Although, of course, if you elect to expedite at additional charge. And by the way, how do you expedite? Let me just point that out one more time. We have additional services here. It says recommended optional service to expedite filing with the Florida Department of State. You can click on info and get additional information on that or any of the other additional services that I mentioned. But that is the process in a nutshell. When expediting, we're typically looking at approximately a month and a half to 2 months, sometimes less than that. It all depends upon the backlog of the Secretary of State, as well as how responsive you are. Now, certainly the ball will be in our court, but it is important that if I should contact you, I receive acknowledgement of my communication, that you respond quickly with the information should any be required. But the entire purpose of this form is that it provides us with all the information we need. So those instances should be few and far between. With that in mind, I hope that you found this information helpful. Again, my name is Chad Cummings. As always, the information in this presentation is general in nature and is not legal advice, because legal advice, by definition, must be specific to a particular set of facts and circumstances. Should you have any questions regarding redomesticating your existing LLC or corporation to the Sunshine State, please use the link to schedule time to speak with me. And that will allow us ample time to discuss your specific situation. On the other hand, if you feel you have a grasp of the process, by all means, please get started. As soon as you do, I will get started working for you. Thank you so much for your time, and you have a great day.